Welcome back to the channel. Thank you guys for hanging with me on this Wednesday. So yesterday's video, I talked briefly about how important a jig is when you have that unseasonably warm weather and you have a week where bass go from being in almost their winter to barely pre-spawn mode all the way to the spawning mode. Now, before they spawn, there are a few things that they are going to do. They're going to get on some type of hard target like wood for a day or two, maybe possibly a little longer than that, and then they're going to spawn. So if you have a week of 80-degree weather, doesn't matter where at in the country you live, bass are going to leave those pre-spawn places, or not even stop there, most of them, and go right to the bank to spawn. So a jig is a really good wintertime bait. I keep a couple different jigs always on the front deck of the boat when the water's in the 40s. And then I'm going to start mixing in more and more jigs as that water warms up. So when you have water that is 48 to 54, a finesse jig is a player. I feel like I can catch my limit on that bait. A full-size jig is a player because there are lakes where bass just love a jig, and that's almost all you need year-round. So that's why that full-size jig is going to play. I also feel like if you need to go target one big bite, it's perfect for that. But once that water gets into 55-degree territory, and if you live up in Florida, just add 10 degrees up in Florida. If you live down in Florida, not up here, but down in Florida, 10 degrees to any of these numbers. But when you get to 55, anywhere but Florida, that is a key number, not only for what is going to happen on your lake, fishing is going to become amazing, but also what is going to happen on the front deck of your boat, because now instead of baits with very little action, we want more action. We want as much action as we possibly can give them. So that's when I'm going to start going with these kick and trailers. So again, the jig thing is pretty open-ended until we get to 55. Then it's all about covering water, giving these fish the most visible option. Why I like black and blue so much early in the year. If I'm in really clear water, I'll keep that black and blue skirt, but I'll go to a green pumpkin trailer, and I'm covering as much water as I possibly can because I know the fish are coming to the bank as fast as they can. So it's all about a half-ounce swim jig, and not only am I going to swim this, since it is a half ounce, when I get to the end of that laydown tree, I get to any target that looks good, I'm going to flip this at those fish. So that is a big deal when you have water that's jumping up above 55. Now we're talking 56, 57, 58 degrees. It's all about a swim jig because you know those fish are coming. Now, if you have water that stables out around 55, watch my video from yesterday, square bill, lipless crankbait, chatterbait, those fish are going to stay in that water temp. But unseasonably warm weather, they're moving. So if you're wondering why your spot that was loaded yesterday, pre-spawn, is gone today, it's because they left, they went to the bank. You're probably not going to relocate those fish, but it is fairly easy to fish other spots around the bank and catch fish. So those fish, you'll probably never see those again. Just go to the bank and start looking for other ones. Now, if it warms up even more, we're talking a couple weeks of 80-degree weather, that's when it's going to be all about the spawning baits. And I've done other videos about the rage bug, some type of creature bait that kicks and moves. This is very important when you have fish that are just about to spawn and are spawning. So you can flip this, you can swim it, you see a stump, pitch your bait over to it, you have a little grass, whatever, or a bunch of sticks in the water, reel this real slow roll it. You can actually swim it just like a jig. Your speed worms are going to play, so this is a really good bait year-round, but it's a really good spawn bait. And then not only am I going up in size in my swimming jig, but I'm also going up in size in my flipping jig. So when the water's super cold, I like a 3/8. I want that jig to basically float above their head, big salty chunk. I want the bait barely moving when I'm flipping when the water is 52 degrees, 53. But when we get 55 and warmer, that's when I'm going to go with my half ounce, because I'm doing basically the same thing that I'm doing with the swim jig. I'm just fishing a little bit different. You know, if I'm fishing docks or something like that, then I'm going to be trying to cover more docks in fishing faster because I know more and more fish are coming. So it's not so much about staying on one dock and just slowly, monotonously moving my bait. It's more so about fishing that whole row of docks because big ones could be showing up. And you have about a day or two to catch them in this type pattern before they go spawn. So as we move along, we get warmer. That's when your wacky rigs, your Texas style, Cincos, Generals, all that stuff is going to play. But basically you have a couple weeks of this type fishing. In my opinion, shallow water fishing, this is as good as it's going to get all years, guys. So good luck to you, and I'll see you on the water.